Okay, now this picture, of course, that the prof just put up is the perfect example of how to use the poop emoji for hairstyle.
The reason I segued, or I want to segue from our discussion there to the Clone Wars season 7 stuff, is because of that idea we're talking about, how the intersectional feminism is 100% privileged in every way. Okay, so this I wish there was a way I could share two screens at once. It may be, but I just don't know how right now. All right, so season 7 of Clone Wars is not something brand new that they're just writing right now. This is something that they had scripts for. They even had some of the rough animation for. Here, I'll show you a link for these story arcs together. So after the Bad Batch story arc, we were supposed to move into to Ahsoka, to catch up with Ahsoka, and that's all fine and good. Where is it? There you go. And when we catch up with Ahsoka, we go down to the under levels of Coruscant there, and she's supposed to run into this guy here, Nick Sokami. He was supposed to be the first Asian to be an official, cast member or whatever of Star Wars Clone Wars. And if you remember, if you're a Clone Wars fan, if you remember, forgive me for forgetting some of the names here, but Padme's friend, who was a senator in the Separatists movement there, and she had a nephew that would the nephew and Ahsoka had a little bit of romantic tension at one time, and they were going back and forth. There was some stuff going on. Now, eventually, he ended up liking this other freedom fighter or whatever that he ended up going with, and that was a big deal for Ahsoka and whatnot. She had to get rid of that attachment and stuff like that. But there was a really fun tension between Ahsoka and that other male character. Now, this Nick Sokami was promising to, and there's even some scenes you can watch, some of the unfinished scenes, like when the people come there to ask for the rent for his shop or whatever, which we see happen in Clone Wars. And there was really cool tension between like that male and female, a little bit of that, not sexual tension, but if you want to call it that, okay, on the scale of, what we have in this series. And that made for an interesting story arc. Like you could see, that's probably really fascinating. Well, it's not enough. And if you tell me that you think this was 100% David Filoni, and you don't think that Kathleen Kennedy, or at least the agenda that Kathleen Kennedy put in place there, if you're honestly telling me that you don't think any of that had its fingers in these decisions, then you are incredibly naive. And I have a bridge that I'd like to sell you after the stream, because that is just ridiculous to think. Asian male, that is not enough points on the intersectionality chart for us to be able to get behind. No. We have to make this Asian male, we have to make it female and a different race of female, which is like, I guess, half African-American and probably half Latina. I mean, we have Trace Martez and Rafa Martez. All of the easy, like low-hanging fruit here about the stupid haircuts, the mental illness, half buzzed head or whatever. Yeah, you can make all those. But the real problem is, like, I would be okay with any of that. I don't care about, we're in space, whatever. Have whatever doofus kind of hair you want, whatever. The problem here is the writing is awful. And especially coming off this amazing story arc we just had with the Bad Batch, this group of clones that were its own unit because they weren't cloned properly and they had these sort of special mutated abilities. I mean, that was a lot of fun. That was amazing to get to visit our characters again, see them interact with these new characters, go save Echo from death and all of that. Wonderful. Now we come here to Ahsoka going to the underlevels of Coruscant, and she meets Trace here. Trace here is the stupidest, and I mean that literally. Like, she has got to be the lowest IQ level character I've ever seen in an animated series like this, who's not supposed to be stupid. And it results from the fact, and you guys stop me if you have an interjection here, because I got a lot to say about this crap. This is so awful. It pissed me off so much.
I haven't watched it. Go for it. I'm enjoying it.
Actually, I'm going to go quiet for a little bit. I'll be right back.
Okay,
go ahead.
Sure. All right, so Ahsoka crashes her speeder on Trace's landing. Now, Trace is an amazing mechanic because, any girl of color has to be really great at something, either math, science, or technologically related, or, that you're not doing the character justice, apparently. So she's a great mechanic or whatever. She is basically Ahsoka just feels sorry for her. And Trace here is used by her sister Rafa to get into all these underworld dealings. And eventually they're going to go smuggle some spice or whatnot. There's actually one scene in which they're on their way. They've picked up this spice. It's a legal drug, basically. They picked the spice and they're on their way to go deliver it to the Pikes, which are these intergalactic gangsters. Ahsoka's trying to tell Rafa, this is not good. They're pikes. You can't trust them. For all you know, they could steal the ship or whatever. Well, Trace loves her ship that she calls the Silver Angel or some stupid name like that. And Trace tunes everybody out. Trace stops hearing what anybody says. She's a grown woman here. And she goes, they're not taking my ship. They're not taking my ship. And the whole time Ahsoka and Rafa are arguing about what the best course to do. She goes, they're not taking my ship. And then she hits a button and releases all of the spice into hyperspace. Just lets it go. She's like, there, problem solved. They're not going to take my ship now. I don't say this lightly, okay? I don't say this lightly because I have a special needs daughter. And so I'm not being funny or cutesy or insulting by any means. I think if you're going to have a special needs character, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You don't have them, but this is not a special needs character. That decision, that was special needs reasoning. That was a reasoning that does not understand the reality of the world you live in or the surroundings in that capacity or in that context for that moment. And the writers did not even mean to do that. The writers are so obsessed with keeping her the pure, pristine, untouchable, unflawed angel of a little victimized, intersectionalized character that she is, because she can't have any faults because she's a woman and she's got two different minority races inside of her. You see how the agenda just kills the story, just picks the story apart until it's trash. The very last episode, no movement was made. You found out two little pieces of information that you could have found out easily in an expositional conversation. But we had this whole stupid episode where they escape from prison, but then they get put back in prison, all due to her stupidity. And she's just there as a victim so that Ahsoka can learn learn that the upper side of Coruscant and the Jedi ways aren't really all they're meant to be, and we need to really pay attention to the lower classes and what caste system of society is doing. And oh my gosh, you see what the woke agenda has done to Star Wars, taking a perfectly good story that was written already, but just substituting a character that was already written because he was male and we can't have that. Let's put two. Oh, they got excited about that. Two intersectional points females in there in the role instead, and the story just dissolved like acid. And it's so disappointing to come off of that wonderful Bad Batch arc to finally see what Ahsoka's been up to all this time, to maybe get a little bit more of her story, and this is the bullshit that we have to come into. I don't even want to watch the next episode. I mean, can you just let me know when this arc is over with? Because it's ridiculous. It's stupid in every way. I don't care about either of these characters. And you rest assured they are going to push Trace bullshit hair down your throat for the rest of the stupid season. I guarantee it, because they need her and all of her intersectional victimhood glory to be the face of Clone Wars now. I guarantee you they're going to shove her in front of your face as many times as they possibly can, because the SJWs cannot tell stories. They're not writers. They don't know storytelling. They're so, as Troy was saying, they're so obsessed with that one idea that they, like, everything else just blows over their head. All they've got is their one gospel they have to preach, their gospel of intersectionality and victimhood and you're bad because you're not a victim or whatever. That's all they live to do. That's all they live to proclaim. They can't handle telling a good story and just letting that breathe for itself. They have no clue how to do that. And these are the people that run everything now. They run everything. I don't see how anything is going to come. I mean, I thought Clone Wars, with its story already written, that might be safe, but nope. We're going to dip our little dirty, disgusting fingers into that and meddle and replace this and move this over here and move that over there until it meets our code, which is just ridiculous.
And what you were saying about the having to be a victim all the time, I was listening to a commentary just recently by someone who professes to have been a second wave feminist, saying, we had done so well at not being victims, that as women, we can be strong, we can be powerful, we can be every bit as have as much agency as a man. And now we have the third and fourth wave feminists coming along saying, oh no, don't take away our victimhood. What have we been fighting for all this time? Mm-hmm. Is what she said.
Yeah.
And it's and I looked at Nanette one time and I'm like, my gosh, I don't want a woman that is incapable. I want a partner. I want an equal. That's mm-hmm. why I'm with the person that I'm with. And I think that most men feel that way.
And as long as they keep pushing the stereotype of the woman that is the victim, it's going to just be perpetuated again and again and again, and you're never going to have the situation where everyone's strong and everyone is capable.
Yeah, I remember what it was we were watching just recently, where the woman just I think, wasn't it when we were watching when we were doing the rewatch of Night of the Living Dead, the girl swoons and faints, and I'm like, that just seems so out of place now, because I don't think anyone ever actually did that. Now, to have a woman swooning and fainting, not only is it not politically correct, it pulls you out of it because it doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah, I thought you were going to talk about Paycheck, where Uma Thurman's character just always seemed to,
exactly. We were talking about that last Saturday.
Held her own.
Exactly. And you don't think about, because, she's being a strong woman. She was just being a strong character. The fact that she's a woman never even enters into your mind, But,
well, does a few times, but
well, okay.
Al's always there to remind us.
to remind us of the single guy's point of view, right?
I've been locked in too long.
Yeah, I'm a single guy too, so don't still put that. But Al's the shut in.
I let it fly.
Yeah.
I'm old enough not to care.
So it's can the season come back from this, or do I even care if it does? These are the questions that you're forced to ask at this point.